Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to Old Man Rambles. Now, I want to talk about something that there may be more important things to talk about, but I kind of have to because I find this kind of ridiculous. Let's talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has several times bragged about what a pro gamer he is. Nothing wrong with being a pro gamer. I'm a massive nerd. I play video games. Um, I've been playing video games since they were invented because I'm just an old fart. And I have nothing against famous people playing video games. Henry Cavill famously plays Warcraft. You know, other people have played World of Warcraft. I mean, Henry Cavill also plays Warhammer. Robin Williams played World of Warcraft. He also played Legend of Zelda. Famous football players, Vin Diesel. You know, playing video games is just something people do for fun. The thing is that he's played, Elon Musk was in an interview saying at one point he was one of the highest ranked Quake players in the world. Quake is a first-person shooter game. He also bragged about being one of the top 20 ranked players in Diablo 4. And most recently, bragged about being one of the highest ranked players in Hardcore League of Path of Exile. Now, I think Elon Musk has, in some ways, been treated unfairly in this regard. He's been heavily criticized. He posted something on Twitter, just a quick snapshot of his Elden Ring character, the gear he was wearing, the skills he was using, that type of thing. And he was shredded for it, which in some ways I think was fair. The stuff he showed us did not work well together. Just didn't. That doesn't mean but he did also in that Twitter post about Elden Ring say he did switch up his equipment and gear, as the situation called for. So, I can give him a pass for that. It's like, yeah, this may have been not very good, but Elden Ring is also one of those games that you can play however you want to. He wasn't bragging about being one of the top ranked players in Elden Ring. There's no ranking. The only thing people really do there is speedrun, and he wasn't talking about that either. He wasn't bragging about being a speedrunner. He just, posted stuff. It was kind of goofy and awkward, and people really gave him a lot of crap for it. Some of them still are, but when you come right down to it, it's not like he was, bragging about how awesome his stuff was. He just said, "Hey, I'm having fun playing this game." So even though it might not have been good, he may have had a crap gear and a crap setup for his character. I think it was unfairly trashed for it, to a certain degree. But let's get back to the current state of Path of Exile. He posted a video. He showed himself playing the game. Showed off his gear. And again, showed himself playing the game. And from the video clip and the comments that he made, he doesn't really know how to play the game very well. He doesn't understand the game at all, or not at all. Saying at all is a bit much, but some of the things people have given a hard time about are simple mistakes. They talked about him picking up crap gear on the ground. Well, it's like, it's easy to do. You're running around clicking buttons. It's easy to pick up something you didn't intend to. There are little things like that. People have really pulled this apart at the seams to try and show how bad he is this game. And some of it is nitpicky. But some of it is valid. He was, I think, at the time ranked 12 in the Hardcore League. For those of you who don't know what it means, in Hardcore, once your character dies, you're booted. You basically have one life. And he was level 97 out of possible. You can't go any higher than level 100. So, getting to level 97 would probably take around 70 hours, give or take, depending on your skill, depending on how well you knew the game. But I think the bare minimum you could say to get that far was about 70 or so hours. Now, Elon Musk is a man who owns 3 companies. He frequently comments on how he is vital to those companies' function and about how he works at them every day. He is also a parent. He has 11 children from, I believe, multiple wives, but I'm not sure. Not multiple wives, but I don't know. I know he has 11 kids or somewhere around there. Would he have had the time to get a character level 97? Yeah. The game's been in early access for about a month, so he probably would have had enough time if he spent, a couple of hours a day playing the game. He could have gotten that far if that was the only game he played, if this was the only character he played, if he dedicated his time to it. But he made some rookie mistakes. One of the things they pointed out was that he ran out of mana, energy you use to cast spells with, for a good chunk of time. At least, he was like fighting and fighting a boss monster, and just auto-attacking with no abilities because he had no mana to cast abilities with for a good chunk of time. And it's like, if you're that high level, how are you going to forget? If you've spent that much time in this game, playing this game, how are you going to forget to push the mana button? When you run out, how are you going to forget to drink a potion to replenish your mana when your skills stop doing damage for that long? He's bragging about being one of the top tier players. He makes simple mistakes like that. He manually does things that you can auto click. He just doesn't seem to, he makes mistakes about, navigating the game and playing the game that are things that people who've only played the game for 20 minutes make. His actual combat with the boss was fine, aside from the fact that he, ran out of mana. But he didn't seem to understand how gear, he had some top level gear and thought it wasn't very good because he was leveled past it. It's like, no, there's just some stupid shit he did. I'm going into too much detail on this when I wanted to keep it very broad. I'm not a pro gamer, mostly because I don't want to be. Partly it takes time. I have a full-time job. I have a wife. My kids are grown, but for 28 years of my life, I had one or more kids in my house to raise. So, didn't have the time. I also don't have the inclination. I know what it takes to be a pro gamer. I know it's not just the hours. You need to play a certain way. You're forced to play as lean and clean and mean as possible, and you have to follow certain rules. You got to use all the shortcuts, find and use all the best gear, use the strongest build, use the strongest character in whatever game you're playing. I'd rather just mess around and have fun. I do well enough, despite the fact that I joke that I play video games badly. One of the reasons I play them badly is because I just don't care. I could do better if I wanted to. I'd rather just goof off and have fun. But Elon Musk is bragging about how awesome he is without any idea how to play the game. And it looks like he paid someone to level his character. There have been unconfirmed rumors that people tried to message his account and it defaulted to Chinese. And the Chinese and South Korean and Japanese players are generally the top ranked players in the world because, I don't know why, but they just do. Half the leaderboard, I've got the leaderboard behind me. Elon Musk character is on it. So it really does look like he paid someone. There's no proof, but if he didn't pay someone, he somehow spent the equivalent of 2 weeks playing this game and learned absolutely nothing about how it works, and claims he's a pro gamer, with no idea how the game works. The other thing, too, is that if you remember I mentioned hardcore, you have one life. And if you die once, you're booted. Shortly after showing us this clip of his, Elon Musk's character died. Now, again, that's not proof that he paid someone to level his account, because it does happen. You know, the further you try and push, the harder the game gets. You know, the difficulty can and does rank up. You know, you can choose to play at easy difficulty. You'll still gain levels, but slower than everyone else. If you're trying to push the level, people do die. And if you're one of the people who wants to be on the leaderboard, you're going to be pushing the higher difficulties. But part of the fact that after he showed a video in which he seemed to have very little knowledge of how the game functions beyond mashing buttons, and his hardcore character died like 2 days later, literally. Now, it's a video game. Who cares? Who cares that Elon Musk brags? Who cares that he paid someone else to make himself look good? Because other people do it. Other people pay the people to, give other people their passwords and let them level their accounts. Because they don't feel like doing it. They'd rather just have a high-level character and go boom. On the whole, I mean, it's really ridiculous. And it does seem to suit his characteristics. He'd rather pay someone to do the work for him than actually do it himself. That tracks. That sounds like Elon Musk. And the fact that he would do that and then try and brag how awesome he is also tracks, but is also extremely ludicrous, and I find it in some ways extremely hilarious that he is that pathetic of a loser. But why I think it matters and why I wanted to ramble about it is because in a few short days from this recording, Elon Musk will become one of the most powerful men in our government. And the fact that someone who is that much of a pathetic loser will have the power to take an axe to our federal government and hack away whatever he doesn't like, that's troubling to me. I have no problem with him being a wannabe tech bro, someone who's chasing popularity to pat himself on the back and make himself feel better. So what? But the fact that he will soon become one of the most powerful men in the country, in the government, someone with that type of mentality and that type of personality, having that much access to how our government functions and works, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. Good hunting.